Okay, hello, my dear Honkai and current and future players. Today I am back with the biggest guide I've ever made, where I introduce you to everything in the game. I'm recording this after I recorded the video, so my voice is gone. I just spent 2 hours talking. I went through all the menus, all of these, all the combat events, permanent game modes, temporary game modes, current events, blah blah blah. I tried to explain everything in depth, but also cut on time, even though it's 2 hours long. I hope this video helps you out. I have so far a more in-depth guide for characters, weapons, stigmas, so gears. If you want to know how to level them up, where to obtain them, how to farm them, I have a separate video for that, as well as I have recently released a who to roll for guide. If you're coming new to the game and you wonder who you should roll for, you should watch that video. And I also have a short, like a 10-minute beginner's guide to combat, which introduces you to the combat system on a very surface level. I am eventually I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm eventually planning on doing a more in-depth combat guide, especially for part 2 Astral Ring system, but it is going to take me a couple of weeks. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if it helps you out, I would really appreciate any feedback, liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing it with any other new players. I would appreciate it very much. I love you all. Enjoy the video, and I will see you at the end. Bye bye! First things first, where you see your profile, you go here on this thing where that tells you your level as well as your nickname. You click on it, and here you can see your ID. You can change your nickname. You can equip an emblem. You see your achievements, your emblems, your stigmas, weapons. You can see which ones you have, which ones you haven't unlocked. You can replay cutscenes, but I think you only can replay those that you've already played, the ones that you already unlocked through playing the story. This is where you can change your bridge. Taichuan Steps is not available anymore. It was purchasable with crystals. It hasn't come back. This was available with money. Arc City, very cool. I'm sad I didn't buy it, but it hasn't come back. These other ones are available through playing the story. This is available from part 2. This is the basic bridge. This is from part 1.5, and this is from Elysian Realm. You can interchange between them whenever you want. I obviously like the Elysian one the most. You can redeem codes in your account option here. I'm not going to open it because it has my private information, but you can redeem codes in the account section. Okay, so the missions tab is where you do your daily missions. I did them already. You get 45 or 40 crystals per day. So like dailies are the the least important way of getting crystals. Weeklies, Abyss, Elysian Realm, which I'll tell you about, those are a lot more important. So basically for dailies, you have Memorial Arena, resets weekly. You can only do it once per week. This is for spending stamina. This is for donating in the Armada or the clan. This is from sending your characters on expeditions as well as collecting coins. Material events is the actual dailies, which give you stuff to level up your characters and gears or whatever, and these are like the weekly ones. Adventure tasks, Abyss, Universal Mirage, Elysian Realm, Realms of Battle. We'll talk about those in the event section. Now recently they added this light option, and they're adding more and more things. Something tells me that the reason why they introduced light is because of Star Rail players, to make it easier for them. When you click on the light option, you have the option to do these things with one click of a button. One is Sim Battle, which I've already done. It's basically a battle for the Armada or the clan to contribute towards the weekly score. Weekly quiz, it's basically just a quiz that asks you like 10 questions to answer about the game, like what does this character do, whatever. You don't need to do it, you can just light it. A Universal Mirage, let's talk about that after, because it's pretty significant. And then adventure tasks are also available weekly, I think 2 times or whatever. I'll talk about all these separately, but once I explain them to you, you'll know that you can just, with one click of a button, automatically do them here. Now, like the Dailies menu is automatically connected with the BattlePass screen, with the BattlePass options or whatever. Combat missions are dailies and weeklies. BP missions are missions that give you battle pass that are special, like from events. For whatever reason, when you get the new character of the patch, you also get battle pass XP, like for whatever reason. This is basically just it. When you get to a specific point in the event, when you complete a specific stage, you get crystal, just like Genshin, just like Star Rail. Rewards, this is the actual battle pass screen. It's pretty obvious. Vanguard is the free battle pass. Knight BP is the less expensive one, $10, and Paladin BP is the more expensive one, which is $20 to $25 depending on how you buy it. Note this, that when you go from the free battle pass to the more expensive battle pass, it's $20, but for whatever reason, if you decide to go cheaper, then less expensive, then you decide, you know what, I'm gonna upgrade to the more expensive one, then it's gonna cost you $25 in total, 10 plus 15. So I would suggest from the beginning of the battle pass, choose which one you want to buy so you can save $5. One battle pass season lasts 4 patches. A new one began this patch, 7.8, and it's going to last until 8.1. Here you go. So from 7.8 to 7.9, it's gonna be her share of truth's gears, and then 8.0 to 8.1 is gonna be hairs, but all of them are still gonna be available. Like, as new gears are released, the old ones are still available. This patch, they actually brought some changes to the battle pass. Now the battle pass actually gives you more important materials. No one buys the battle pass for crystals. It only gives you, 7 wishes per battle pass season, which is 40 days. You buy the battle pass for materials. Like, literally all of these stuff are so much valuable. If you can afford it, the battle pass is a good investment. There are 2 battle pass specific materials which you claim from the battle pass and use them in the battle pass. They're here. One is called Honor Chip. The other one is they're called Crystallum, which is called them balls. Good name, I know. The Honor Chips, you can redeem them in the battle pass arsenal. Unfortunately, for the cheap battle pass or the free one, you don't get a lot of these. So firstly, buy the equipment supply card, and then I would suggest buying the medal because you need it for PRI-ARMS. If you buy the battle pass, then you can buy a lot of this stuff. I would suggest the card, the medal, the ancient willpower, and the Honkai shards. This especially because it's used for farming characters. Okay, battle pass works is where you use your balls. Balls are the only way to get them is through the battle pass. You get 5 per season from the free battle pass, 14 from the less expensive one, and 16 from the more expensive one. You get all except 2 from the battle pass, and you get 2 from, you click on it. By the way, very great thing. Whatever material you want to know where you can get it, you just click on it, you click on the get button, and it automatically leads you to where you can get the stuff. Awesome, amazing. So one is from the battle pass, the other one is from Dorm Shop. You get these work point cards from sending characters on expeditions in the dorm. I'll show you how to do that as well, no worries. Yeah, so one battle pass season lasts 4 patches. So these things, like the gears themselves, are available for 4 patches plus 1 patch of the next season. So this season, Hair and Bronya are going to be here between 7.8 and 8.1, but their gears will also be available in patch 8.2, which is the first patch of the next season, in the BP Works Vintage Shop. In the Vintage Shop, you can convert the new Crystallum into the old Crystallum. Unfortunately, for obvious reason, you can't convert the old ones into the new ones. So the ones from this season are the green ones, the ones from last season are the pink ones. I can use the green ones to redeem pink ones, and purchase this stuff from the last season. The Works Vintage Shop is only available for 1 patch during the first patch of the new season, and then it goes away. And these gears, for now, gears don't return twice in the battle pass. They come once, and that's it. Again, the battle pass is a great investment if you want to buy gears, if you want to get a lot of materials for leveling up your characters. Cheaper battle pass, you get 5 fragments for a character. More expensive battle pass, you get 20 fragments for a character, so you can literally rank up your character from S to almost SS just from buying the more expensive battle pass. But again, it's $80, so it won't be cheap. But, you know, just to tell you, you can do all of that. That's it for dailies. Now, when talking about battle pass, I'm going to connect to topping up in the game, and I have a very important advice to give you. In the game, there are 2 spending currencies. One is called B chips, one is called crystals. The crystals are the basic currency that you can earn through doing dailies, doing weeklies, missions, story, you know, like primo gems, like stellar jades. B chips is the premium paid currency, which you can't obtain for free. Like you can only get it through spending money. Unlike Genshin and Star Rail, you cannot convert the B chips into crystals. Unfortunately, they're two separate currencies. And you use B chips for 3 things. 1 is to buy the battle pass, 2 is to buy skins or outfits, and 3 is to buy bundles. If you want to spend money for sparkle or whatever, you want to spend money in general, always buy B chips. If you are spending money to roll for a character and their gears, never look at the crystals. Never ever. This is an absolute atrocity. Like, the conversion rate is awful. 1 pull in Honkai Impact costs 280 crystals. It's not 160 like Genshin and Star Rail, it's 280. So without the first time bonus, you only get 6.6 thousand, which is literally 23 wishes. In Genshin, for $100, you get 8,000, I think, right? Which is 50 wishes. Here you get like 23, 25, which is so little value. So what you want to do is, if you're willing to spend money, is you buy B chips and then you use those B chips in the bundles tab. B chips, bundles on the left side, and here you always have bundles whenever a new banner comes out. It doesn't matter if the character is new or not. Whenever there's a new banner in the game, there are these special bundles which you can use with B chips to purchase them and get cards in return. If you're spending money, never ever purchase crystals. Like, I'm telling you, unless you're a millionaire. Maybe if you're a millionaire, do whatever the fuck you want, but I don't think anyone's gonna be a millionaire, so invest into B chips rather than crystals, because the conversion rates are awful. And in some countries you even have to pay taxes, remember that, so it's literally like awful. In the bundles, you have the ones for the new character, you have recommended ones with B chips. You can also buy other bundles like these coupons, which you can use to buy outfits, permanent bundles, cyclic bundles, which, you know, they activate on a cycle once every couple of days or weeks. In the outfits tab, you have these 3 currencies, again, B chips, which are used to buy character outfits which are limited, pink coupons, which are for limited outfits, which eventually become farmable, or which become purchasable. They're not farmable, sorry, outfits aren't farmable. But this is literally the hardest currency to get in the game. Like, these pink coupons, the only way to get them is from rolling on special banners, which are called like skin gacha banners. That's it. Like for example in PGR, and like some other gacha games, you can obtain certain outfits through a special gacha banner, and you get these as part of the reward. There's like literally no other way to get it besides that and spending money. So this is literally the hardest currency to get in the game. I'm not even kidding. If you know, if you really want one of these outfits, be careful what you're buying, because it will take you literally years to farm. Without spending money, it will take you years to farm enough to get an outfit. This carnival exclusive, I won't talk about this because this is especially active now for the it's for the anniversary, Chinese anniversary. There's a special banner which is called the Carnival Supply. So these wishes are not usually here, they're just here for the special banner. But in case you want to spend money while this patch is still active, you can spend like $20 to buy a character or their rank up stamps. And yeah, that's basically it. Remember, buy B chips, don't buy crystals, because the conversion rates is awful. And one thing you gotta remember, 280 crystals is 1 pull. It's not like 160 like Genshin and stuff, it's 280. So yeah, mailbox is just a mailbox. You get character birthday letters, you get from web event rewards, you get the rewards in the mailbox, this and that. Bonuses is where you can access your login rewards daily. This screen automatically activates when you open the game. So does the monthly card bonus if you spend if you buy the monthly card. One thing that I have to mention is that the monthly card lasts 30 days. If you log in 15 days, you get 500 crystals. If you log in 15 days again, you get another 500. So basically, a lot of the value of the monthly card is locked behind logging in every day. So even if you're not planning on playing the game that day. If you have the monthly card, just open the game for 15 seconds to claim your daily monthly card bonuses. Yes, my honest advice, so you can get more value out of it. Now the biggest tab, which is the events tab. One great thing about Honkai Impact is that web events are available through the game itself. You don't need to, oh my god, you don't need to like open your web browser, open HoYoLab to do web events. You can do them in game and you get the rewards in game. Awesome stuff, right? I haven't done the event, so I won't do it, but it's basically just a web event in game, and it has to do with Sparkle. It's Sparkle. You get a May Stigma. You get a limited time 3-star web event Stigma for May in a witch outfit with this outfit. So if you want it, you can have it from the web event. Now these are the basically like all the events that are currently available, and like these menus are available through the event menu itself. Like when you open the event, you can also see this there, but this is like one way to access all of them. These are basically like, I don't need to really explain them because these are temporary events. You know, this is the exclusive event of the patch, the biggest event of the patch. This is the screen for the new chapter where you can get a free weapon, either Coralie's, this is Coralie, or Helios. This is also for the new chapter. This is a special shop, you see, that's available. I'm telling you honestly, if you're watching this video when I upload it, it's great to start now. Like, you don't have to wait until the day Sparkle comes out. You can start now because you get a decent amount of rewards because the Chinese anniversary is this patch. So we get 15 free wishes. You have to choose between these two. I would suggest Battlesuit supply cards, or maybe even the equipment ones. Just don't redeem the crystals because you lose out on almost a whole wish. From here you can get a free 5-star or free S rank. It's between Bronya Silverwing and Siren. Siren is farmable, Bronya isn't, but that doesn't really mean much because if you're playing for Sparkle, Sparkle is going to be Siren's best support, and if you're a new player, it's gonna take you a long time to actually farm the character. So my advice to choose between Silverwing the character or Siren's fragments. Honestly, her stamps, that's what they're called, and then you can use the stamps to convert it into fragments and you rank up the character. Very cool. But yeah, these are just, it shows you what, like, the big events of the patch and the rewards that they give you. Each of these crystal clusters give you 100 crystal each. And yeah, like, honestly, these are just events of the patch. Like, next patch is going to be different events, so there's no point of going through them one by one, because again, they're limited events. But this is a special event. You can get this ticket, which you can use to automatically level up a weapon from level, or a stigma from level 1 until level 50. A part 2 stigma, and it's gonna save you a lot of resources. You can also choose to claim one of these divine keys. Divine keys are a special type of weapon, both in the lore and in the game. Divine keys have to do stuff with Hershers and with Otto. I won't spoil anything, but they do have a significant lore value. And in terms of game, you can use divine keys to sync them up in the dorm, and they give you global bonuses. So like flat attack, flat HP, flat defense for all characters, as well as like elemental or physical damage bonus. I'll show you where you can do that as well. This is a special event screen for the new character of the patch. Like if you obtain the character and you obtain their weapon, you get some BattlePass XP, and this is when you complete their tutorial stage. I'll show you how to access every character's tutorial stage, which you can do that, which is great. You can play with any character you want. This is the currently available special spending event. I guess I can explain it. Spending event is basically that. The more crystals, currency, wishes you spend, you get more of the spending event currency, and you can use the spending event currency to redeem this time Hersher Finality. You can use to redeem rank up stamps for characters, elf fragments, Taurus, which is used for leveling up weapons. Spending events, happen once every a couple of patches. Big spending events like this one usually only happen twice a year for the global and the Chinese anniversary. The Chinese anniversary is now. The global anniversary should be February, March. And then we have some mini spending events where there's like less rewards and less like stages and stuff, less stuff to purchase. But most, like, one thing that is known in the community is that you save for spending events, because during big spending events like this for the anniversary, the game gives you more rewards, you spend more crystals, you can buy more stuff, right? Makes a lot of sense. And during spending events, when you spend about 30,000 crystals or equivalent whatever, you can get a skin. This time they gave us Telema's skin, which I don't even have Telema, but it's an amazing outfit. She's so hot. I love her. My little gremlin, I love her so much. But yeah, you automatically get the skin for spending 30,000, which is a little over 100 pulls. And yeah, that was the events tab. I guess, like, from the UI, what else I can show you is that this is the chat bubble for the character. The character talks, nothing. You have this thing where it's like you need to reset it a couple of times. When the bubble is blue, that means that they're gonna be talking. When the bubble is white like this, they talk, but that's when you can use to change the character that you want to use on the bridge. Vita, whatever, I'm gonna put Luna. And you can change for characters that you have. Obviously, you can only put characters that you have on the screen. They don't get any bonuses, like you don't get like a name card in Genshin. If you reach max level companionship, you get nothing. Like, that's it. You can see your crystals here, your coins here, your stamina here, as well as this is when you click on this menu, it gives you excess stamina that's saved. Just recently, again, my guess is because of the Star Rail collab, they increased the stamina currency, I think, from like 150, 180 to 300. So your stamina is going to be saved after it caps out, which is great. Wish we had that in Genshin, because this game, the stamina has a lot less value than it has in Genshin. But yeah, okay, so before we go through the combat stuff, weekly, where I show you how to find the base, how to navigate this and that, let me show you these two menus down on the bottom, because they are pretty important. One is the Armada, or the clan. You join an Armada. I would suggest joining one that has more members. The Sim Battle, remember we saw it earlier in the light option. Sim Battle is just, you can access quick light, and you get some rewards as a clan, Armada, whatever. You have the Armada shop here. Here I haven't bought these. These are for the dorm supply or the standard banner. You get 2 monthly. Cool, thanks game. You contribute here, like your weekly contributions are counted here. As a group you get, what is it, 50 crystals. In the warehouse, you can make a request for a specific item, for a specific character shard or whatever. You post it, and if there are nice people in the clan, they'll give you what you're asking for. And commissions are, I've already done mine. You have 8 attempts per day. You submit stuff, like these are character XP, leveling up weapons and stuff. And then tomorrow, you can choose which of these rewards you want to get based on your contribution. Clans don't have that much value, like it's good for having some little extra rewards, but overall it's not as big of a deal as it is in other games. Yeah. By the way, you can see the tier of the clan here. The higher the tier, the more active players there is, the easier it is to gonna get the weekly rewards. So again, join a clan that has a decent amount of active members, more members, and is a higher tier. And now the dorm. Here you can see your excess stamina. This is where you collect coins that collect over time. I think they cap out like after a day or two, so make sure to claim them. The dorm is really good because it offers you global bonuses for your character, like a flat attack bonus. I'm not gonna explain that stuff because you can, if you're wondering like how characters work, affixes or whatever, substats, you can go watch my character gear guide. But basically, the higher your dorm level, the more bonuses you get. You see, you get more physical, 30% elemental bonus, 85 attack doesn't seem like a lot. 85 attack in Star Rail is literally like 300 attack in Genshin, or sorry, 85 attack in Honkai Impact is like 300 in Genshin or Star Rail. It has a lot more value in this game than it does in Genshin and Star Rail. Valkyries, this is you can see which Valkyries you've obtained, which ones you haven't. Not all Valkyries go into dorm. Some do, others don't. This is the expedition menu, which I recently got a comment. Someone said, I completed all the story, I've completed the character expeditions. What do I spend my stamina on? And that is a great question. You spend your stamina in here. You go to the in the dorm in the expedition. Look, once you complete the story, which if you're a new player, you won't do it for a long time because you have part 2, you have 5 chapters. If you decide to complete part 1, there's like 40 something chapters, I think like 40. Of course, you don't have to do all 40 chapters to access part 2 story. I'm just saying if you do decide to play permanently and play the whole story, it's going to take you months to complete it. So this might not be accessible or advisable to you for a couple of months. But firstly do the story, then do the limited expeditions, and then in dorm expeditions, spend it on this thing called AE Imaginon. You use the AE Imaginon in the shop to purchase stuff that you need to ascend weapons. I'm gonna show you later where it is, but farm the AE Imaginons to purchase a material that you use to level up weapons, to ascend weapons, I guess. A new feature that they added is that you can click the quick expedition option, and you can send the character on an expedition depending on your last one. So like my last expedition was 186 stamina. If I want to automatically send them on an expedition again, I need 186, and it automatically sends them. This is a new feature, it's great. And remember, farm AE Imaginons. Iran's is the let's say like the equivalent of expeditions in Genshin or Star Rail. You can get crystals. I can't access them now, but you can get crystals, these S+, which are pretty rare, and then from the ones that are A, B, and C quality, you get dorm vouchers, which you can use in the shop. And here in this settings tab, you can choose on which expeditions you want to send your characters on. When you click the quick dispatch option, you can send them manually one by one, or if you want the quick dispatch option so you can send them automatically, you can choose here which tiers you want to send them on. It recovers over time, onigiri. That's what it's called, onigiri. Recovers over time, and yeah, you see 15 per hour. I think that level that increases over time as you ascend more. Shop, accessible from here or here dorm shop. It's the same shop. In the daily shop, dorm shop, you can buy Taurus, the best thing to invest in. Dorm supply cards, the second best thing to invest in, and the one that you'll want to buy no matter what is the crystal. And remember the balls from the battle pass, which you can only obtain from the battle pass itself and from this shop, the dorm shop. And once you purchase all of these, if you have a lot extra like me, you can use it to buy asterite. Asterite is the second most common currency in the game, and it's very valuable. When we go through the shops, I'll explain what it's used for. And like the dorm itself, here it is. It's basically, that's it, the dorm. You can use to put whatever characters you want and you have, and you can decorate and stuff. Characters actually have interactions, like specific characters have interactions between each other. Very, very cool. Let's see what Durandal has to say. Very cute. They're they're very, very adorable, the chibis. Now remember when I told you about the free weapon that you get, about the divine keys? Well, this is where you access them. So you go to the dorm menu and you click divine keys. This is what it looks like, and this is the bonuses. This is where you can level up the weapons. First you sync them or you tune them. You see I have this abyss flower. I can select the weapon, I level it up, and then I tune it to the divine key menu. And then I level them up one by one. They give you bonuses. In the gene limit, you can see these 4 are the ones that you get for having specific weapons. So physical, fire, ice, lightning bonus, as well as these other ones that you get. Like these are accessible from the combat menu automatically. Like in Abyss, for example, you can change them. You don't need to go to this menu. You can do it automatically. These 4 are the maximum ones. You can only activate these 4, there's nothing else. Yeah, you tune your weapons, you need to level them up, and you get, you see, all characters gain 5% attack. But I have only 1 weapon, so these other 2 aren't available to me because I don't have these other 2 weapons. If I had 2 of them, I would also get this bonus, 10% more attack. If I had all 3 weapons, then I would get another 10%, another 10 attack, sorry. A 10 attack, again, doesn't seem like a lot. It is a lot, like I'm genuinely telling you, attack is the most important stat of any Valkyrie, no matter their type, no matter their support, DPS, whatever. Attack is the most important stat. For all of them, this is where you tune your divine keys. The game will tell you when you have a weapon available to be tuned, and once you level up the weapon, like the more you level up the weapon, the more bonuses you get. And it is very good bonuses, so if you have divine keys, make sure to tune them. Okay. I guess now we can go to the equipment, which is the inventory. I know it like things are called a bit differently in this game, like the menu, you can't even see where your profile is. Remember, it's here. Equipment is basically your inventory. This inventory, don't look at this. This is an inventory that has been accumulated over 3.5 years. On top of that, I am a hoarder, so don't look at this. This is these are specific to my account, like this materials, forging, event. These again are specific to my account, and you won't have most of these because you're a new player. But what you will have is the weapons and the stigmas tab. You can see which stigmas you have, and you can go, like, you can list them in terms of like which ones you got more recently, which ones are rare, which ones, like in terms of set. You see these 3 go in a set, so they're put next to each other, and this is where you can access your weapons. These gold weapons, you see how they're gold and they're all shiny? Those are divine keys, which to craft them, like to craft a divine key, you need to be level 50. And once you craft a divine key, it will look like this. And you won't be able to level it up past level 50, like the weapon, unless you're level 81. You can craft divine keys when you're level 50, but you can only level them up once you're past level 81. You break through the ceiling, or it's called breaking through, and you go to Exalted, which is basically endgame. Like, yeah. For stigma and weapons, you have forging. This is where, like, this is the forging menu, which you can access through different ways, but I can explain it to you now. The forging menu is the same one for the weapons and the stigma. It leads you to the same screen. This is where you forge PRI-ARMS, where you forge divine keys, where you forge farmable stigmas, part 2 stigmas. Remember, if you're wondering how all of this works, how to level them up, where to get this material that you need to level up the weapons and to craft them, how PRI-ARMS work, you can watch my guide for weapons, characters, and stuff. I know it's an hour long, but it has timestamps, so you don't need to watch everything. I don't want to waste time on it now because I need to explain the whole game, but yeah. You can sort by equippers. For example, I want it for Vita, and it automatically tells me what Vita's weapon I can use, what are her stigmas. You see her signature stigmas are craftable because she's a part 2 character. All part 2 characters have their stigmas forgeable, including Sparkle, but you can also get them through rolling on the weapon banner automatically, so most of the time you won't need to forge them. You salvage stigmas to get materials back. So if you have a lot of duplicates of the same stigma, you can get the source prisms. The source prisms, you can use them for actually leveling up the stigmas that you need, as well as to craft new ones. And the weapons, salvage them. If you salvage weapons, make sure that you have multiple copies. Like, I honestly wouldn't suggest touching this menu if you're a beginner. You should learn first, but if you do decide to use it, do not use the salvage menu. Use it convert, because you can use rare weapons to convert them into weapon resonance, which you can use in a special shop, and I'll show you how to do that later. But don't use the salvage menu, use the convert menu. That's it for your inventory. And now let's go actually to the most important part of the game, which is the actual main menu. This is the opening screen. You might think this is the main menu, but the best way to access everything that you need to do daily or weekly is through the attack menu. So you click on attack and you have everything accessible. You have recommended, you have start, you have challenge, and you have event. Literally all current events that are available, whether they're daily, whether they're weekly, whether they're monthly, whether they're permanent, they are available in this attack menu. So let's go. This recommended tab just shows the ones that are recommended, but we'll go through these one by one. So the start menu has these 5 things. Let's go firstly to Realms of Battle. Realms of Battle is a weekly resetting special game mode where you do basically mini side missions and mini games. Yeah, you do mini games. You're have trial characters for all of them except for the final stage. These 6, which are the mini games, you get trial characters to use them on, while for the final stage you need to use your own characters, and it's a combat stage. You get rewards which are very valuable. I actually think from next patch this is also going to be added to light, so you can do it with the click of a button, but for now you have to do it manually. Once every week you get Taurus and Metal, the most important ones, which are used for leveling up those PRI-ARMS. You wanna level up your PRI-ARMS? Do Realms of Battle. Remember, resets every Monday, I think at server time. Material Expedition, this is the actual dailies, like the material events. This is where you do your dailies. I did mine already, but these won't be grayed out if you haven't done them yet. There's a quick light button right down here. You click on the quick light button and you do all 4 of the stages at once. Those are your actual dailies. You like, characters in this game don't have specific talents for leveling them up like in Genshin or Star, like trace materials or talent books. There is no such a thing. The only thing you need to level up characters is this one thing. It's called EXP materials. That's basically it. And coins for leveling up their skills, which is like talents. You just need coins and literally nothing else. Expeditions are a not popular waste of time and stamina to farm like characters XP or whatever. Don't do these stages, because when you do these stages you have a chance of getting the material. You see, the following stages have a chance, it's not even guaranteed. Out of these things, the most valuable thing to farm is the AE Imaginons, but remember I showed you that you can farm these through the dorm and you're guaranteed to get them. Maybe you're not, I don't know, but to do them through the dorm, this menu is like its days have passed. Like, this menu's days have passed. You see, when you click automatically, when you click on the expedition one right here, it leads you to the dorm menu where we sent our characters on an expedition already. So it is possible drops, but you see you can get multiple types of materials at once. So this menu itself, don't spend your stamina here, spend it here. After you complete the chapters and stuff, then spend it in the expeditions menu. Remember, this is the actual daily menu. These are the materials here are used for leveling up weapons and stigmas. These are also used for leveling up weapons and stigmas. These are for elves and stuff. Yeah. And Timeworks, you get Asterite, which, remember, it's very important. Asterite is a pretty important currency. I'll show you in the shop what to use it on, and don't just spend it on anything. Open World is that. Open World is a special game mode where it's part of the main storyline, but it's like an additional bonus. So you click on here, look, on the left corner, you click on this globe thing, and it shows you the currently 4 accessible open world game modes. That's exactly what they are. If you're a beginner player, you won't have any of these done, obviously, so you'll need to do all of them, and they're not something that can be sped run. You need to do them over time. I don't know if you can access them all at once. I think you might need to unlock them one by one, but if you can unlock them at once, do a post Honkai Odyssey 1 and then do a post Honkai Odyssey 2. They are very important for the lore. They're actually set in the future of Honkai Impact. Like right now, we're like in like lore wise, I don't know what year we're on. We're like in 2020 something. I think like a Post Honkai Odyssey is set like 2030, for example. Like a fully adult Mei and Bronya that are like in their late 20s, early 30s. It's a bit weird, I know, but that's the way the developers decided to do it. The story, like, because they own have their story that's voiced and everything, you can do it whenever you want, but weekly adventure tasks, you can only do them in one of the maps. So once you unlock all 4 maps, you can only do adventure tasks in one of them per week. You can only unlock one. So you click on the gain access, and you see it requires one of these. You get 1 per week. You can choose which one you want to unlock. I would suggest doing a Post Honkai Odyssey 2 or 1. If you want to do it in terms of like like canonically in which order they go, it's firstly a Post Honkai Odyssey 1, then a Post Honkai Odyssey 2. I would suggest firstly doing this one, then this one. I'll choose a Post Honkai Odyssey 2. It asks you, gives you a warning, you want to unlock it, yes. And now you see these 3 are inactive. Again, I can still enter them, I can still do the story, but the adventure tasks themselves are only accessible this week in a Post Honkai Odyssey 2. And 15 per week. I don't know which days they reset on, but you get up to 5 attempts 3 times a week, and you click on the check tasks. You select them, like you can get character fragments. They're honestly, for me as a veteran, they're not worth it. Like these rewards are not worth it, but besides the in-game stuff that they give these crystallum, like a Post Honkai Odyssey 2 gives this crystallum which you use to level up your moon ring, and the moon ring gives you buffs in the special game mode. These buffs are not applicable outside of weekly adventure tasks. They're just used for this special game mode of Post Honkai Odyssey 2. But so you have an easier time doing adventure tasks and doing the story, you level up your moon ring. Yeah, it's worth doing them, like genuinely. They're worth doing. You can select whatever map you want to access them. They go Sakura Samsara first, Shixal second, a Post Honkai Odyssey 1 third, and a Post Honkai Odyssey 2 fourth. And they have do a lot of value, like lore value. So if you're interested in learning more, especially about the future of the world, post Honkai, it tells you post Honkai, you can play these 2, and they are very fun to do. You also get to hang out with Mei and Bronya. I think you'll like it. Yeah, so this menu right here is a new menu which was added this patch. This is a completely new mechanic that wasn't accessible before this patch. So the Voyage log is basically, well, okay, not the Chronicles, this one. The Voyage log, I guess the Voyage anecdotes specifically, this is where you can access past events. You know how in Star Rail, the big event of the patch, once the patch ends, you can access it through a special menu, and you can only get part of the rewards. Well, now they added it to Honkai Impact as well. It wasn't available previously. It's a completely new mechanic. That's why there's only one event, but you can do it. You see, you get, usually we got a skin, we got like 500 crystals. Now you can't get the skin, you can't get all of the crystals obviously, but you can still get a decent amount of rewards. You get to experience the event story, you get to hang out with characters, and you know, they're not really lore heavy. They're more like fun game modes which are temporary, and they have reruns once every couple of patches. Like events actually in this game have reruns, usually once a year. So yeah, this menu, this is the Chronicles. These do them because you only need to do them once. You get some character fragments, you get stigmas. These don't matter a lot. This menu isn't really more for like a value, it's more for like experiencing the story, because it's actually pretty lore deep. just like everything in this game, but it gives you a background on a lot of these characters, which some of them are crucial to the world building of Honkai Impact. Teresa, I won't spoil the story for you. Teresa, Fuhua have been in the story since the game released 8 years ago, so you'll want to do these chronicles to learn more about the characters themselves. But in terms of value for like materials, no, just for lore value. Now the last thing is the story. This is the story menu. This is where you can access the whole story and you can choose with what you want to proceed. This here, you see how there's multiple? The one on the bottom is the base game. You see, this is where the game begins. Chapters 1 to 2, Dust Girl's Battleship and Voice in the Dreams are the first 2 chapters of the game, and you have all of them accessible up until 35, which is the end of part 1. So the game was separated into 3 parts. Part 1, part 1.5, and part 2, which was recently released like about 6 months ago. The Moon's Origin and Finality are chapters 1 until 35 and is part 1 of the game. Dance of Life and Death are Dance of Life and Death is part 1.5. Yeah, this the stars which the moon gazes upon is the last chapter we got before part 2 came out. So chapters 36 to 42, as well as a bonus chapter to introduce us to part 2 characters. Extinguish Starlight and Rekindled Fire are chapters 1 to 4 of part 2. And chapter 5, which is the newest one of part 2, is separated from the rest because it's a bit different. Like chapters 1 to 3 are very tied to the open world of the game. Okay, this menu, like, I don't know how many times I've clicked this on accident, but let's just let it play for a couple of seconds because I don't want to restart the whole game. But basically, chapters 1 to 3 of part 2 are tied to the open world of the game, which we got introduced in part 2. It wasn't accessible previously. Here's the open world. You actually need to explore, you need to do daily commissions, you need to open up chests, and then you use those materials here to... Where was it? Here. This is like, you see how it's like the battle pass. It's a special battle pass for chapters 1 to 3 of part 2. You get this stuff by, again, doing missions, doing story missions, doing dailies, opening chests on the map. And the most valuable thing you can get here is Coralie's weapon. Remember, Coralie's and Helia's weapon this patch are given out for free through the events. If you get the box, choose Helia's weapon because you can already get Coralie's from doing the story itself. And it's just from hitting level 2. Yeah, the other things, like, you actually get pretty valuable stuff. You get asteroid, you get source prisms, you get the Imaginauts, you get crystals, and you get those again by basically exploring the world. Unfortunately, most people were not fans of the open world story, like veterans. So, like a sandbox map, it had a pretty mixed feedback. So, chapter 4, which is last patch's story, actually is not part of the open world, and it has the same UI as part 1, where you only need to do the story by playing the chapters like this. Like, you don't need to do it in the open world and it tells you go to this place, go to that place, like in Genshin or Star Rail. Nope, it's like the Honkai style, which is just like this. The chapters, or the separation of the chapters, and you do them one by one. So much better than this. I'm glad that they decided to change it, because no offense, but Honkai Impact is not an open world game. It never was, and it shouldn't be, because there's already so much stuff to do in the game. Putting an open world where you actually need to explore and do daily missions and open chests, it's like genuinely too much. So I am glad that they decided to separate the open world from the actual story. Remember, in the start tab story, you can choose which chapters you want to go. The new chapter is always accessible immediately. Like, no matter, I, for example, haven't done the previous chapters of part 2. I haven't done chapters 2 to 4, yet I can still access the new chapter. That's because the new chapters of the patch are automatically accessible to everyone, no matter if you've done the previous ones or not. Here, for example, I can't do chapter 3 because I haven't done the second one, but I can do the 5th one because it's the new event of the patch. Remember that. Okay, so that's it for the menu. Okay, so now that we finished with all that stuff, we can actually get to the core base of the game, which is in the attack tab in challenge, and you have these 6 things, which these 2 are character trials and deep archives, where you use specific characters to just do like some exclusive stages. They're like just extra bonus stuff. They have nothing to do with the rest of this. They don't reset, you only do them once and that's it. But these 4 things are the actual core part of the game, which reset weekly to abyss multiple times a week, give you the most crystals, give you the most materials, and you'll actually need to do them if you want to progress in the game. We firstly start with Universal Mirage, which isn't a game mode that you do for crystals, but Universal Mirage is a game mode where you farm materials that you need to craft craftable part 1 and part 2 stigmas. This stage gives you ice materials, this one gives you fire, this lightning, and this physical materials. As you can see, they're the same in every stage, they just have a different color to differentiate the different type of stigmas that you can craft with them. So fire stigmas, you're going to be using these. Physical stigmas, you're going to be using these. These things, like the crystallites, no matter what rarity they are only used for farming part 1 stigmas or for crafting them. But this ether fuel is used for crafting both part 1 and part 2 stigmas. For example, this is a part 2 stigmas. You see, I don't need the elemental crystallite, but I do need the ether fuel. While for a part 1 stigma, I need both the crystallite and the ether fuel. And a part 2 stigma costs only 600 to craft. A part 1 stigma costs 1800. So I'd rather you not spend your ether fuel on crafting part 1 stigmas, but save it if you're missing a part 2 stigma. You get 10 tickets at once on Monday, and you can spend them with the light option at once. If you take use time swirl passes, it is going to consume 1,000 of these, and it's going to give you 4 times the rewards. If you don't have enough of these, you're unticket and you get the base rewards, which is 4 times less. Look at what stigmas are good, see which characters you have, see whether their stigmas are craftable, and then decide what Universal Mirage you want to do. Even if you're not planning on crafting any stigma, just do it for the ether fuel because you need it for both part 1 and part 2 Valkyries. Or stigma, sorry. Now we come to the special game mode of Honkai Impact 3rd, which is Elysian Realm. You all know who Elysia is. She doesn't need to be introduced, no matter if you've played the game or not. She's literally the Jesus of Honkai Impact 3rd. Everyone knows her. Everyone loves her. Much love to you, Ellie. Thank you for changing my life. But Elysian Realm, on top of being a special game mode that resets weekly on Mondays, it is a actual part of the story. It consists of, I think, multiple chapters, and it's part of the part 1 story. You'll progress as you go, and it's a very interactable type of story where you consistently talk to the characters, like the flame chasers, and you do the combat and you do the story, so you're gonna be having a lot of fun. Now, what is the actual resetting weekly mechanic? Well, in the main menu, you go up here, and this is the UI for the weekly resetting Elysian Realm. You have multiple difficulties. Obviously, it tells you the higher the difficulty, the more HP, the more buffed the bosses and the enemies in general are going to be. You have 3 bosses, each on floors 8, 12, and 17. You have buffs that you can select. You can have 30 points worth of buffs. You see, every buff takes a different amount of points. Elysian Realm favors newly released Valkyries. So newly released Valkyries, especially part 2 characters, are gonna have a much easier time completing Elysian Realm. And from this patch, they added the light combat for Elysian Realm, when you can use it to clear the first 8 floors of the highest or lower difficulty that you cleared last week automatically. So the first 8 floors. You see, it tells you what's the hardest difficulty you cleared last week. For me, it's abstinence. I can use light combat to complete the first 8 floors and automatically get the rewards. But if I want to use light for corruption, I can't because I didn't clear that difficulty last week. Elysian Realm gives you 500, up to 500 crystals weekly. You need to complete abstinence at least to get the max 500 crystals. You also gonna be getting stuff that you like Taurus. These are for rerolling affixes on stigmas, or basically like substats. Don't worry, it's not as stressful as Genshin or Starl. It's more an end game thing, affixes. But yeah, Elysian Realm doesn't really have to do anything with meta, or like you need a meta character to clear it. No, it more has to do with choosing the right signets and the right buffs for the characters. If you're a Starl player, you know what Simulated Universe is. It's basically that. You complete floors, you get rewards. Once you get 3 signets of a specific flame chaser, you get their core signet and you get more buffs. If you want to use a character in Elysian Realm, you can type on YouTube, you know, for example, I want to use Hersher of Finality. I'm gonna click and write Hersher of Finality Elysian Realm on YouTube, and you're gonna see people that do guides for Elysian Realm. You'll be able to follow it there, because different characters require different combinations of signets. You know, not all of them use the same ones, so you do that. On top of that, you get up to 1,000 rusted insignia per week, which reset every Monday. And you see, like for example, if you do abstinence, you only get 340, so you're gonna need to do 3 runs per week to get 1,000 rusted insignia. You use the rusted insignia in the shop for these, which are used for crafting stigmas, and the most important part, you use it for argument, for rank up stamps for characters, which give you fragments, and you use those fragments to rank up the characters. It's gonna take you a long time to farm them, but that's why you should start Elysian Realm as fast as possible. It unlocks when you're level 50, I think. Now for when you unlock a new character, you go to Valkyrie upgrades. You get 1 key per week, so you can unlock only 1 new Valkyrie per week. And they have special like skills that you can level up that matter only for Elysian Realm. Maximum level is 15. You get 200 crystals when you level their skills to max. The way to actually level up the skills is to play the character in Elysian Realm. When you play them in Elysian Realm, you get these things, which you then use to level up the character even further, and you get rewards. On top of that, when you get a new character, if you go to Quick Start and Shallow Sequence, you can get up to 400 crystals for each Valkyrie, which you complete these like tutorial stages where you actually get the trial character. If your character is not built properly, you can get and use the trial character, and you can get up to 400 crystals if you complete all of the missions in time. Yeah, when you're a new player, you're going to be having a lot of fun with Elysian Realm. It's a special game mode. Now they added the light option, so it's going to be even easier. For us veterans, it's a bit more boring because we've done it hundreds of times. But for new players, I can reassure you, you're going to be having a lot of fun, especially when using different characters. Okay, done with Elysian Realm. Now we get to the actual most important combat modes of the game, which is Super String Dimension, Exalted Abyss for level 81 plus. That's for me. For new players, it's going to be called Q Manifold, which is just separated into different tiers depending on your level, but it's still going to be called Q Manifold, so it's going to look different than mine. Mine is called Super String Dimension because it is for players higher than level 81, and it's called Exalted Abyss. Abyss for veterans, like for higher rank players, Exalted works a bit differently than Q Manifold. Q Manifold, you'll see, has 10 floors. The 10th floor is the boss. The faster you clear the boss, the more points you're going to get. While in Exalted, level 81 plus, you have 2 main stages, 1 bonus stage, and the boss stage. The 2 main stages, as well as the boss stage, are made for the same character, like they have the same weather. That's what it's called, weather. For example, it buffs Astral Ring, all 3 buff Astral Ring, while the third bonus stage is just random weather made for a random character, you know. You get up to 6,000 points, but again, this is more for higher rank 81 plus, and it's only accessible to level 81 plus players. If you're lower than 81, you're going to be in Q Manifold, which is separated into, I think, like the beginner, elite, and master tier. And again, it's 10 floors. The 10th floor is the boss. The faster you clear the boss, the more points you're going to get. You're going to see this disturbance. Disturbance is basically like difficulty. The higher the disturbance, the more difficult the boss is server-wide. It has nothing to do with your account. Disturbance affects all players, and it has to do with server difficulty. For example, on global it's 480. On Southeast Asia servers, I think it's like 520, 530. So it, like Asia servers, because there's more players, it's more competitive. The disturbance is higher. EU, because there's less players, less whales, so the disturbance is lower. Abyss resets twice a week, on Mondays, which is accessible Monday through Wednesday, and on Fridays, which is accessible Friday through Sunday. The higher you are on the leaderboard, the more points you're gonna get. The higher tier, more rewards. For example, if we go for Super String Dimension level 81, which is Exalted, for example, Red Lotus gives 400, Agony 3 gives 320, Agony 2 gives 240, and on top of that, when you clear the 3 main stages, you get another 100 crystals. So if I retain Red Lotus, I get 400 from finalization and another 100 from doing the side stages, so it's 500 per rotation, and it resets twice a week. So Abyss is going to be by far the most crystal worthy game mode. It's gonna be the best, I can't say fastest, but most concrete way of getting crystals permanently. To be honest, Abyss favors new characters, just like every other gacha game, including other Hoyoverse games. What does that mean? Because like in Genshin, for example, Abyss resets once a month. In Star Rail, Memory of Chaos resets like 40 days, so the buff lasts 40 days. In Honkai, it resets twice a week. Bosses rotate much faster. Like they rotate twice a week. Well, what I mean by it favors new characters is that when a new character comes out, there's gonna be more bosses that the character has an advantage against. For example, the new character Vita is lightning is a lightning DPS. There's going to be more bosses that are weak to lightning, and she's an Astral Ring character, which means she's a part 2 character, so there's going to be more buffs for part 2 characters. Next patch, when Sparkle comes out, she's Quantum, so there's going to be more Quantum bosses in Abyss. It's not going to be every rotation is going to be Quantum, but if normally there's like 2 Quantum bosses per patch, next patch it's probably going to be 6 to 8 because Sparkle is a Quantum character. Now, one thing that I can talk about it now is that, well, actually, let me go to Memorial Arena first, and then I'll talk to you about it. Now, Abyss is the biggest source of crystals. A Memorial Arena is not done for crystals. Like, no one does Memorial Arena for the crystals, because if you look at the rewards, for clearing the 2 SSS bosses, which is just for Exalted, lower tiers don't have SSS bosses. Exalted, which is 81 plus, has 2 SSS bosses weekly. We get 40 crystals, wow, so much. And just clearing the bosses in general, doing 14 stages, you get another 100 crystals. So weekly, because Memorial Arena resets on every Tuesday, on Monday it finalizes, so it's not accessible. On Tuesday through Sunday, you weekly get up to 140 crystals, which is 560 monthly, which means that from Memorial Arena in Exalted, remember the highest tier, you get 2 wishes. That's it. So if you're like, well, if no one does Memorial Arena for the crystals, what do you do it for? Well, you do Memorial Arena for Ancient Legacy and Ancient Willpower, which are 2 special materials that you use to farm characters. That's literally it. In Abyss, you have a reason to restart the boss. You have a reason to get a higher score, right? I have 782 now. Let's say I restarted it and got 800. I could be second on the leaderboard, get more points, and get more trophies, which means I retain Red Lotus, right? In Memorial Arena, why someone would want to restart the bosses is 90% of the time just for to show off that you have specific characters, that you know how to rotate, how to do rotations, that you have higher rank characters. That's it. Like, the main reason why people do Memorial Arena more than once, like to get a higher score on the boss, is just to show off and get higher rankings. If you're a new player, even if you get to Exalted, if you're not meta heavy, like if you're not that focused on the meta, there is quite literally no reason to try to mold to get higher percentage, because the rewards are not that worth it. Like, look, like if you get 17% instead of 35, it's literally only 3% more of it's only 3 more of these and 10 more of these. Sure, they're valuable, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. For the fact that this is 35 versus 17%, it's half of the percentage. You need to get double the score for 10 more of these. It's like, it's not worth it. So I'm telling you, Memorial Arena is more a game mode that's done for the Ancient Legacy and Ancient Willpower, which you can use here in the shop to farm characters. I'll mention it now, but I'll mention it again. If you're new, you'll want to farm Siren, because she's the latest farmable character, even though she was added last year in September. They add characters once every couple of months, but those are old characters. For example, they added Sarcasm Nyx this patch, but she's like a 3-year-old character, while characters like Siren, Sushang, Fallen Rosemary, they were farmable with Ancient Legacy on release. They were released as farmable characters. So if you're new, you should farm Siren, because especially if you're planning on getting Sparkle, Sparkle is going to be Siren's best support. So there you go. One thing about Memorial Arena is that when you go from one like tier to another, when you go from like beginners to elites to masters, you're gonna notice a difficulty jump. Like, it is noticeable. It is noticeable in Abyss as well, but it's especially noticeable in Memorial Arena. One thing that I have to mention is that when you do a boss with a specific team and you finalize the score, those gears are locked to that boss. You see, it tells you locked Valkyries. So once you do a boss, you complete the stage, there's gonna be a button here that says finalize. Once you click on finalize, the characters and the gears that you used for that boss are going to be locked for the rest of the week, and you cannot use the same characters or the same gears on the other two bosses. So be careful with what you're clicking, because like if you start a stage with a specific team, don't worry. It doesn't immediately lock the gears. You can just click escape and give up, and that's it. Like, it doesn't matter. So if you misclick, it's no big deal. It locks the gears and the characters when you click finalize once you complete the boss. Now, Memorial Arena is more difficult. It's more beginner non-friendly. It's more made for long-term players, like Exalted, I'm saying. For lower tiers, it's easier to do, but for Exalted, it's mostly made for long-term meta players that want to show off their rotations, their characters, and similar stuff, you know. It's not worth molding over like it is in Abyss, because in Abyss, remember, higher rankings, more points, higher tier, more crystals. In Honkai, in Memorial Arena, it's like more higher ranking, very minimally higher rewards. It's more so for showing off. And bosses usually require one specific team. In Abyss, even though like a stage, for example, this stage is used for Vita, right? So everyone used Vita. You still can use, for example, the Part 1 trio. You can use a different team, get very similar score. Sure, Vita's gonna be higher, but using the second recommended team, it's gonna give you like maybe 20 to 30 points less. While for Memorial Arena, using the signature characters for the boss, it's gonna give you a higher score than using alternative teams. because whenever a new character comes out, on top of being released with the new Abyss Weather, they also come out with their own SSS Memorial Arena boss. So whenever a new character comes out, Vita this patch, Sparkle last patch, they also bring in a new SSS boss in Memorial Arena that was made for them. So they're gonna get a higher score than alternative Valkyries. You see, so I'm telling you, it's more of a competitive game mode. It's worth doing for Ancient Legacy, so you can use it to farm characters, which is obviously helpful. Besides that, crystal value none. You get in Exalted, which is the higher rank, up to 2 wishes a month. That's it. Now, you see, I talked about Exalted. Like, I'm in Exalted Abyss, right? 81 to 88. I'm in Exalted Memorial Arena, 81 to 88. That is a ranking, like a level that's accessible once you reach level 80. Once you reach level 80, you're gonna get this warning on the screen that's gonna tell you, do you want to break through? Don't worry, you don't have to make the decision immediately. You can hold it off as long as you want, but breaking through, or it's called breaking the ceiling, is just being able to progress past level 80. Like, once you hit level 80, you'll get the warning, do you want to break through? Break through unlocks level 81 to 88, and it unlocks Super String Dimension and Exalted Memorial Arena, which is higher difficulty but more rewards. But remember, it also requires multiple teams, and it does require you to have some knowledge in the game. So the question is always, should I break through? Honestly, it depends on how fast you're playing the game. If you progress through the game very fast, if you don't do the story, if you skip through the story, you're gonna get to level 81 fast. I would suggest holding off a couple of weeks so you can get more materials, but don't hold off too much. I held off 6 months. I was capped on XP for 6 months because I was scared to go to Exalted, and then I went, and guess what? Even after 6 months of waiting, I still struggled. So no matter what, unless you're a whale, if you're an F2P, low spender dolphin, you're going to struggle in Exalted. Don't worry, it's normal, but it will allow you to learn the mechanics of the game faster, and to become basically better at the combat. Yeah, so my advice, if you progress quickly through the game, wait a couple of weeks, get some more materials, and then break through. If you progressed slowly, if you played consistently, yet you played slowly, so it took you a decent amount of months or maybe even over a year to get to Exalted, then I would suggest breaking through the fastest, because once you get to Exalted, you are able to compete in endgame game modes, get more rewards, as well as actually compete in some events which are only accessible to level 81 captains and higher. Like, for example, so far 2 times, and it's gonna be 3 times, where we get a physical merch, an art book which consists of character concept arts released in the past year, as free physical merch, literally. Like, you compete in game for you, like, you don't even need to compete, you just complete missions and you can redeem a photo book, which then whoever ships out to your address. For Chinese servers, it happened to this patch. For global, it's going to be for the global anniversary, which should be patch 8.1 around February, March. Yeah, so, and it's only going to be accessible to level 81 plus captains, so, you know, that's why I'm telling you, start playing the game now so you can go to Exalted around February, March, and you can compete for the art book. Make sure that you check whether the art book can be shipped to your address. It's going to be available in the events news tab, because they unfortunately can't ship them out to all countries in Europe and Africa, I think. So make sure that you can actually get the photo book before you redeem it, you know, because you don't want it to go to waste. Yeah, that was Abyss, that was Memorial Arena, that was the breaking through part. Now we can progress with the last push of the video. I want to talk to you about, when you go to attack and events, I want to talk to you about these 2 menus, which are Trials and Tactics class. So Trials is like a special menu where you can try the latest release skins. You see, so these skins are currently available for purchase in the shop, and you can try them out. Telema's skin is available from the spending event, you can try it out here. but that's less important. What's more important is the tactics class. So the tactics class is basically a trial stage for all released characters in like the past 4 years, basically, even longer probably. So unlike Honkai Star Rail and Genshin, where you can only try out the characters that are currently on the banner, in Honkai, in the tactics class, you can try out all released characters, and you actually have combat tutorial stages where the game shows you, like, it gives you a guide on how to complete the rotations, and then you try it out yourself. And it's not with random characters like it is in Genshin or Star Rail. It shows you the recommended best team for that specific character, for example, and you get to try out their basic attack, their skills, their bursts, their DPS rotations, their support rotations. Very cool, very helpful. On top of that, you can try some mechanics, like the core mechanics of the game, like evade, counter attack, weapon skills, special mechanics for specific types like quantum, imaginary, and stardust. Very helpful, permanently available. Make sure to check it out. And now we can go through, before I go through the final part, which is the shops and the banners, let's just talk about AstralOp and Valkyrie menu. AstralOp consists of the AstralOp and the Elf menu. It's basically their special like mechanics that buff your characters. Elves are a part 1 mechanic that part 2 characters can use, and the AstralOp is a part 2 mechanic that part 1 characters cannot use. The AstralOp mechanic is only accessible to part 2 Astral Ring characters because of the Astral Ring mechanic. A character can only use AstralOp if they have Astral Ring, because AstralOps buff Astral Ring. That's basically it. Dream Seeker is part of the main storyline. She's obtainable for free. Songchue and Seraphim are available through gacha. They each cost 60 pulls for S0. SS is another 60, and SSS is another 60. So Songchue is mostly used for elemental teams. Seraphim is used for physical teams, but honestly, Seraphim does fine even for elemental bosses. Like, even though she's a physical support, she does better for elemental bosses than Dream Seeker because she's free. Obviously, she's free, so she's gonna be weaker. Elves used to have banners, but because now they're an outdated mechanic, elves don't have banners anymore. Now they're obtainable through BattlePass for 32 of the crystallum or the balls that we talked about earlier. Let's just check it out. BP shops, here they are. You can choose between these elves are only accessible. They're basically the only 2 ones that are still used. This one is a support for lightning and fire Valkyries. This one is a support for physical Valkyries, and that's it. You can check it out in attack when you do any game mode, Elysian Realm, Abyss, or Memorial Arena. When you do a stage, you can switch between your elves and your AstralOps here. Just for example, you see I use a part 2 character, so I can use both elves and AstralOps. But let's say I put in a part 1 character here. I can only use the elf, I cannot use the AstralOp. You see the leader does not possess Astral Ring, AstralOp is unavailable. So part 1 characters cannot use AstralOps, they only use elves. Part 2 characters use both elves and AstralOps. Now for the Valkyrie menu. The Valkyrie menu UI got an upgrade once part 2 was released, and it looks this menu, not this, sorry, like this menu looks like Genshin and Star Rail's menu when you select characters. That's basically it. You can switch between characters, you can like set them in order of release, by level, by star level, which is this, like S rank, SS rank, whatever, frequency of use, as well as the default order, which I actually don't know what default order is. The game aligns them up somehow, but I would suggest going by order of release. So newer Valkyries are stronger, and you can use those. On the menu here, you can set which Valkyries you want to select depending on their attributes. Astral Ring characters, if you select just the Astral Ring tab, it shows you just part 2 characters, and Hersher of Finality, who is a part 1 character, but recently this patch she got a new weapon, a new Divine Key, which allows her access to the Astral Ring mechanic, and she does count technically as an Astral Ring character even though she's a part 1 character. If you select just non-Astral Ring, it's gonna show you just part 1 characters, and then you can mix and match depending on their damage type, so physical, fire, ice, lightning, or their type, biological, psychic, mechanical, quantum, imaginary, stardust. Each character has one of these 6 types and one of these 4 types. Sparkle is going to be quantum, fire. If you're just curious, we have only 2 of those characters, so Sparkle is going to be actually pretty new. And yeah, that's it for the menu. Remember, Astral Ring part 2 characters, and Finality with her Divine Key, non-Astral Ring part 1 characters. That's it. And now we can get to the final part of the video, the final push, which is the... Oh my god. Wait. I have a piece of paper where I write what I need to talk about. It fell. Let me pick it up. Okay. So we have the shops and the banners. I'll go through the shops first because that's longer, and then we'll end it off with the banners. Okay, so for the shops, we'll go one by one. The daily shop is that. It's just a daily shop that resets daily, and it has random stuff. Don't ever purchase any of this with the crystals, god no. Only purchase stuff that you see with like coins, and that's it. Anything else, not really worth buying. The 2 most common currencies in the game are coins and this, which is called Asterite. They're the most common, and they're pretty valuable as well. The exchange shop is a special shop where you have hundreds of stigmas and weapons, which are occasionally updated with newer Valkyrie's gears, where you can purchase them with just a sec. Yeah, you can see them. The higher they are, the more recently they were added. So most recently we got Daeon Korra's gears, which is Shakespeare, and Daeon Korra's weapon. There's a lot of gears. Honestly, the only ones you should consider buying are for meta purposes. Let me just find them. Isaac Newton B, and May Beach Party M. Those 2 are used consistently in Memorial Arena, and they're used as an off piece. So like if you're missing the middle piece of one of your characters, you want to use May Beach Party. If you're missing the B piece, more often than not you'll want Isaac Newton B, and they're not craftable. There are other stigmas which are also valuable, like not Monet, sorry. Like Jin Shengtan, for example, but Jin Shengtan is also craftable, while Isaac Newton B and May Beach Party aren't, and they're used for Memorial Arena as well as an off-piece. Now because there's hundreds of gears, yet you only get 6 stigmas and 2 weapons, you can reset of now for free 5 times, but from next patch they're increasing it to 1,000, because now to reset more than 5 times it's going to cost you Asterite. From next patch you can get 1,000 free attempts. Very cool. If you're wondering when to get Stigma Resonance and Weapon Resonance, Stigma Resonance is sometimes given out for like anniversary events. Weapon Resonance is usually never given out. You see, Stigma Resonance, you can get it from open world tasks as well. Weapon Resonance is only from converting weapons. You do that in Equipment, Weapon, Salvage, Convert. You should only do this if you have multiple copies of a weapon. And I mean multiple, at least 3. If you have 2 copies of a weapon, usually I would suggest holding off on the second one, like keeping it. If you have a 3rd copy of a weapon, you can salvage it or convert it. Don't salvage them. Never salvage weapons, always convert them. You can get some weapon resonance and potentially buy a special weapon from the shop, but weapon resonance has less value than stigma resonance because there's more stigmas. It's a lot more worth it to buy a stigma rather than a weapon from the shop, and stigmas are more easy to get, so they're more easy to salvage as well. Just note that part 2 stigmas. When salvaging them, you get source prisms, which are used for crafting more part 2 stigmas as well as leveling them up. But part 1 stigmas are the ones that actually give you the stigma resonance. So you can only get stigma resonance by salvaging part 1 duplicate stigmas. Again, I would suggest if you have like 3 sets for whatever reason, or 3 copies of the same stigma, only then salvage it. But if you're a beginner, I wouldn't suggest salvaging anything, because you're probably not going to know what you're doing. You might end up salvaging a weapon that you might need in the future. So for now, leave it. Once you get more used to the game, then you can learn what gears are good or not, and then you'll know what to salvage or not. The dorm shop is that. It's these tickets which you get from sending your characters on dorm errands. There you go, in the dorm. Very cool. You get these back once the characters come back. You firstly buy the crystallum, then the dorm supply, then the Taurus, and if you have a lot extra like me, you can buy asterite, because asterite is really valuable and it's not easy to get. So you can use it if you have a lot extra on asterite. Witch's Corridor, it's a useless shop. Literally, if you have an SSS character and you somehow end up obtaining their fragments, even though you already have them at max rank, you can convert it into Witch Orb, which is literally, no one does this ever. All of this stuff is like not worth buying anyway. So, you know, just forget this shop exists. No one uses it ever. Now, the supply shop is you get these Stardust Shards when you roll on a banner and you get a copy of a character that you already have at SSS, whether it's on a limited banner or on the dorm supply. If you end up getting an A rank that you already have an have a maxed out rank, which is SSS, you're going to be getting Stardust Shards back, which you can use in this shop. Honestly, they're not easy to get. Literally, in playing 4 years or 3.5, I have only 3,000 of those. You can buy character stamps. They reset once every couple of patches. But again, this is more of a whale shop, because whales roll more, so they get more duplicates and they get more Stardust Shards. Yeah. Now the activity shop is basically where you can redeem stuff that you get by playing the game. Remember, we already came here from the Elysian Realm shop. You get rusted insignia from Elysian Realm. You get up to 1,000 per week, and you use it most often for farming stamps for characters, which you then convert into fragments, and you use the fragments to rank up the characters. I'm gonna be honest, to farm all of this, it's gonna take you years, not even months. It's gonna take you years, because unfortunately, just one costs 1,500, yet you can only get 1,000 per week, which is pathetic. I don't know why they did it that way. Like, to farm one stamp, you need 2 weeks. It's so stupid. For new players, it's really difficult. It's even difficult for me as a veteran. For new players, it's literally gonna take you years to farm all of them. But you can only use stamps on characters, that are unlocked. So unfortunately, you can't use the stamps and the fragments to unlock the character. You can only use the stamps and the fragments on characters that you already have unlocked. War Treasury is where you spend your Ancient Legacy and Ancient Willpower. Remember, from doing Memorial Arena and Abyss, especially Memorial Arena, if you're a new player, you should be using it to farm Siren and perhaps maybe Sushang, but you probably won't have a lot extra. So I would suggest just farming Siren for the time being and avoiding these other ones, because they're outdated old battle suits that have no meta value whatsoever. The Mirage store, remember, is by doing Universal Mirage. The only thing you should be purchasing from here is these two, which reset weekly, and the Time Scroll Pass. Remember, you can use them in Universal Mirage for getting bonus rewards. These things here, like redeeming them with that, or using your ether fuel on these, or using your crystal, what are they called? I keep forgetting. Crystallite on this, don't even think about it. The only thing you should be purchasing from this shop is these two things, which reset weekly, and that's it. The Armada terminal, it's basically where there's like only 5 things you can buy. You get these by completing missions in the dorm, by basically being active in the dorm. Or sorry, in the Armada. Oh my god, not the dorm. The Armada or the clan. You participate in weekly stuff, so you get those. not that valuable. Like you get 2 standard banner pulls per month. These you can buy them, which you use for ascending weapons and characters, and that's it. Master's Shop is where you get these School Inspector emblem. Once you get to a certain point in the game at a higher rank, you can become a sensei, and you can get other players which are your students. When they complete missions, you'll get these Inspector emblems in return. This is honestly a pretty dead system, because most of the time when you're a sensei, you're gonna get a student and then they quit the game, and it's like it's just not worth it. And on top of that, everything is so damn expensive. It's like, yeah. Now the basic currency, the last 2 base shops are the ones where you spend your most common currency. Coin shop is basically these. You use them for leveling up characters. You use this for leveling up gears and weapons. These you use for leveling up characters. These you use for rerolling affixes on stigmas. And oh my god, that is online. And these you use for leveling up lower grade weapons. Now the asteroid shop is the where you spend your asteroid, which is the second most common currency, but it's still a lot rarer than coins. Because look at this, I have 160 million coins, yet I have only 150,000 asteroid. Asteroid is usually obtained from events, from the main story, from achievements in the main story, especially for part 2, and it's mostly used for buying fragments for A rank or SP characters. If you're a new player, buy fragments for Coralie, this is her Valkyrie Blastment, and Helia. If you can only farm one, farm Coralie. Those are the only 2 part 2 A ranks, and they are the most valuable, with a Coralie having more value than Helia. Other characters that are used, you can farm. If you're getting Sparkle, Sparkle replaces Aichun, so don't look at Aichun. You can farm Prometheus perhaps, or Eden. Even though Eden is like a 2-year-old Valkyrie and an farmable A rank, she's actually still used all the time, which is pretty surprising. But yeah, so I would say Coralie farm, then Helia, then Prometheus, and Eden. Okay, now for the other stuff you can buy these medals, which you use to level up PRI-ARMS, but it's very expensive. It's 36,000 per week, and next patch they're also going to be adding Taurus, purchasable with Asteroid as well. But even though again it is a fairly common currency, it's nowhere near as common as coins, so yeah. On other stuff, you can buy these modification parts, where once you collect 4 modification parts, you can rank up the weapon, basically synergize it or refine it. Where it is, let me just show you. It's accessible. Refining weapons is as far as I know only accessible for part 2 weapons. You see minus synergy level 2. Once I get 4 more of those boxes, I can synergize it to synergy level 3, which is maximum level. It isn't 5 like in Genshin or Star Rail. Oops. Oh god. I'm so thankful that next patch they're gonna be removing this, where like it automatically leads you to the game. It's so annoying. Every time I record a guide, I click on this, and it pisses me off so much. Like every time I record a guide, I accidentally misclick. Whatever. I'm sorry. What I wanted to say was yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, basically about the asteroid, farm those characters. Yeah, you can refine the weapons up to synergy level 3. It's not 5 like in Genshin or Star Rail, it's only synergy level 3. And now for the event shops, basically, if you're watching this right now when the video is uploaded, these shops are obviously still in the game. Like this is a special shop for the anniversary, where you like can get some bonus stuff. You can get this direct level up coupon, where you can for free use it to level up automatically a part 2 stigma from level 1 to level 50 without needing any other materials, as well as you can get a box where you can redeem one of the divine keys, which, remember, give you flat attack, defense, HP bonuses, as well as elemental and physical bonuses for characters account wide. Wilderness Supply Depot is just, again, a temporary shop for this patch. For the biggest event, you get a skin. Free skins given out from events only have visual looks. They don't have any special effects like paid skins. But still, you know, you get them for free, so I'm not complaining. This is the spending event where you remember you spend more crystals, you get more currency, and you can use that currency in the spending event shop. The spending event shop is only accessible during spending events, which, remember, happen. Big spending events happen twice a year for global and Chinese anniversary, and we have mini spending events once every couple of patches. Now the shop which resets every patch is Time Capsule. It's usually available week 2 to 3 of the new patch, and it's basically a shop where you can purchase old stuff from the game, which is not obtainable in any other way. Like, you can't obtain it in any other way except this shop. You can purchase skins with money, you can purchase skins with the coupons, or you can spend asterite to buy stigmas, which are only available through the time capsule. You can't obtain them from any other way, just from here. But if you're a new player, I know it, like, especially if you want to be a collector, I know it may be appealing to want to buy these, but 20,000, you should be spending that asteroid on farming characters. It's really not worth it. If you're planning on progressing your account to buy these. Like, even as an endgame player, I need asteroid for so much more stuff, and you as a beginner, just not worth it. On top of that, the last currency that you can spend in this shop is these, which are Homu's Legend Proof. You see, you can use you can get Homu's Legend Proof by completing the tactics class for the newly released characters. You don't get those by completing just any tactics class. You only get them by completing the tactics class for the newly released character. For example, Vita was released this patch. You see, when you complete her trial stages, you get Homu's Legend Proof as a reward. Yeah, that was it from the shops. Now we can actually get to the final thing of the video, which is the banners. There's not much to talk about. Banners, whenever a new character comes out, the banner lasts 4 weeks or 28 days. After that, the last 2 weeks of the patch is just random Valkyries that are rerunning. For part 2 characters, they usually whenever a new character comes out, they usually have a rerun the patch right after. So Vita's released this patch 7.8 weeks 1 to 4. She should have a rerun weeks 5 to 6 of 7.9. That's how it usually goes. Sparkle, no, don't worry. Sparkle is a normal character. She'll be having reruns once every couple of patches, so even if you miss out on her, you can just save your pity and get her whenever she has a rerun. Battlesuit Supply A and B, they're the same banner. They share pity, and the pity carries over as any normal banner. When I do one pull on Vita's banner, it also counts for Sonctuous. So when you do a pull on one of these 2 banners, it also brings down the pity for both of them. One thing that I have to mention, do not ever build pity in this game. Let's say in Genshin or Star Rail, you want the 4-star on the banner, or maybe you want a specific constellation or eidolon for that character. Let's say it might be worth it to do like a couple of 10 pulls to try to get the character. In this game, there is no reason to pull for or to build pity, because A ranks in this game have a lot less pull value than in Genshin or Star Rail, and they're also farmable. In Genshin or Star Rail, 4 stars aren't farmable. In this game, A ranks, or the 4-star equivalent, are farmable, so there is no reason to build pity. Equipment supply is the equipment banner for part 2 characters. Part 1 character gears go on a banner called Focus Supply. You use the same gears, equipment supply, or you use the same card, sorry, but it's called Focus Supply, and you should completely avoid it. If you're a new player, avoid the beginner banner and avoid the Focus Supply banner, because it has much lower rates. It has 2 to 4 times lower rates, and it's much difficult to actually get the gears. For part 2 characters, the way that it works, basically there's only one weapon, there's only one thing that you're aiming for, and the weapon which you're guaranteed to get in 60 pulls. Along the way, you're going to be getting the stigmas for the character, and it's very common to get multiple stigmas in the same set, or multiple stigmas in the same tentpole. That's normal because they have much higher rates than they did in part 1. Yeah, there is no off rates. Part 1 banners have off rates, part 2 banners so far don't have off rates. Maybe as we get more characters and more weapons over time they will have off rates, but for now they don't. Carnival Supply is a special anniversary banner. Basically, if you're watching this in the future, it's not going to be available. It's just a special banner. If you want to know, should I wish on this banner, is the pity going to be reset? Is the pity gonna be carried over? You click on the banner itself and you go to this part, supply rules. It tells you whether the pity is carried over. For example, for the special anniversary banner, it tells you that in this version it will retain, but in later versions the drop count resets. So if, let's say, you spent 50 wishes on this banner, you didn't get the character, the banner ends, 50 wishes down the drain. So before you wish on a banner, be careful, read the rules, whether the pity carries over or not. And remember, it always does on battlesuit and equipment banner supplies. Astral OP is, remember we talked about the Astral OPs. They cost 60 wishes at most for S rank. At most 120 for SS rank, and at most 180 for SSS rank. Are they worth getting for part 2 meta player? Yes, they are. They pose a pretty significant damage boost for some bosses compared to the free Astral OP, which is Dream Seeker. So Serapam and Songchue, the two currently pull for Astral OPs, are pretty valuable. But firstly, get the character. Then if you have a lot extra or you're willing to spend money, then consider rolling for the Astral OPs. And the Dorm Supply is the permanent Dorm or standard banner where you use Dorm Supply cards. One pull instead of 280 costs 200. Don't ever even think about spending your crystals on this banner, because when you're a new player you won't have any of these unlocked, and there's a high chance you'll get some stupid character like like her, which hasn't been used in the meta in like 6 years. So if you're a new player, just farm Dorm Supply cards from Armada, from the shops, and don't ever spend your crystals. Once you get to late game, months and years later, when you're missing only a couple of characters, you always have a higher chance of obtaining a character that you don't already have. Remember that? Like, you do have a higher chance of obtaining a character that you don't have. And when you if you pull 3 S ranks in a row that you already have, the 4th one is guaranteed to be a one that you haven't obtained yet. Unless you have all standard banner characters, then it's just random. Dorm Supply is updated occasionally. It was just updated this patch, I think. We got like 5 or 6 new characters added to Dorm Supply. So honestly, not a bad way of getting outdated non-meta characters anymore. Yeah, that's it. We made it to the end. Oh, I have to upload this. Right now, I'm literally gonna edit it immediately and upload it. If you're watching this as it's uploaded, all the stuff that I talk about, the events, the banners are still available in game. You can go do the events. Remember, the anniversary events are still in full force. You have a couple more weeks to do them. You can get 15 free pulls. Remember that. You can do the big event of the patch, get 500 and plus like another 200 to 300 crystals. You can get a free divine key, which are otherwise very hardly obtainable. Having one given out for free is very valuable. And you can farm more pulls for Sparkle because it's the anniversary. We're getting more pulls than normal, so you can use those pulls for Sparkle. Anyway, that was it. I've lost my voice. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it a lot. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this to support my channel. It really means a lot because making this was not easy. Trust me, I've had to re-record it 4 times. I wish you all a lovely rest of your day, week, whatever. I love you all very much, and I will see you soon, hopefully in the 7.9 beta, where we hang out with Sparkle. Bye bye!